markets pull back as Mount Gox start moving funds again. Can this dump the market back down, or is it just more FUD? In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why price action after a powerful couple of days is now cooling off. We are seeing altcoins pull back a little bit here today. Should we be worried? Should we be looking to exit? And can we see a bigger pullback? If you appreciate these updates, smash up the likes. Do not forget to subscribe. If you want to trade with me, make sure you do so in our Telegram community, ijazcrypto.com/TG. Now, we've had a powerful couple of days here in the market. I mean, Bitcoin yesterday getting a really impressive daily candle close, 6.5% up on the day, closing above the EMA ribbon. And it's no surprise that today we're getting a little bit of a cooling off after such a big 4 or 5 days here on Bitcoin. Of course, part of this is linked with the Trump assassination and some of the stuff which I covered off in yesterday's video, but also the fact that the German government had finished selling their Bitcoin. That also plays into our hands. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, today's FUD is led by the following. Kraken confirms that they've seen and received the money received from the Mount Gox trustee, okay? So I shared earlier on Twitter that we could see some movements from the Mount Gox wallets, and it's been confirmed by Kraken that a bunch of that was to that. This is what Kraken had to say. We have successfully received creditor funds, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, from the Mount Gox trustee. While we will work to distribute funds as quickly as possible, please anticipate 7 to 14 days for funds to be credited to your account. The amount you will receive has been determined by the trustee, and we will distribute according to their instructions. So a few important things to notice here straight away. The first thing is the funds being received in Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. So all of those just expecting Bitcoin to get a crazy dump, you need to understand that a percentage, we don't know what percentage yet, is in Bitcoin Cash. So that should nullify some of the effect on Bitcoin. The other thing is that they're going to be dispersing this over 7 to 14 days. So with a bit of luck and hopefully a bit of common sense by the Mount Gox trustee, but also from the exchanges, hopefully they use that full 1 week to 2 week period to to leak it into the market, right? Not just to dump it all in one go, but to leak it gradually over time will help people buy the dip and stop this big cascading liquidation effect. Because the biggest problem with Mount Gox returning the funds is that there's an assumption that people who have been sitting on this crypto for a very long time are just going to want to dump it, right? And look, the reality is if you've been sitting on Bitcoin from, sub $1,000 and suddenly you get a payout and Bitcoin's worth 60,000, chances are you will want to sell, right? You might want to buy yourself a house. You might want to spend on yourself. You may have, deemed this money to be being lost forever. So maybe you will cash in. But how much of that? Maybe you'll cash in 50%. Maybe some people cash in 60%. Maybe some will cash in 100% and that'll be dumped onto the market. We don't know until it starts to happen. So earlier today, Mount Gox transferred 92,000 Bitcoin, which is about $5.8 billion worth, to 4 addresses. Okay. Now we also know that there's about 140,000 coins left, about 8.7 billion left in the Mount Gox wallet. To put that into perspective, the German government, when they were selling, they sold around, I believe it was 50,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, 50,000 Bitcoin the German government sold. And you saw that the price did move. I mean, we recovered it very quickly. I mean, we fell, you can see we did fall and managed to get as low here as kind of 54,000 on that candle. But very quickly, we're already back at 64,000. So the 50,000 that Germany dumped over several transactions did have an impact. I'm not saying it didn't have an impact, but it's important to note that if 50,000 was sold by Germany and you've got around 140 to 140 left for Mount Gox after this original 92, you have to remember that some of that's going to be Bitcoin Cash. Some of that, the people who get it might keep it and hodl, right? Some might even have forgotten their password to their Kraken exchange or whatever, or there's so many different reasons for why that won't necessarily be dumped straight away. And therefore, we can kind of get an understanding that maybe it won't be complete chaos. That being said, it will be silly of us to not think that billions of pounds dumping of Bitcoin would not have a bit of an impact. So I'm going to be prepared for more dips and I will be looking to buy the dip. But that being said, look how quickly we recovered. right? That Germany dumping of crypto gives you a little bit of confidence. It reminds you that, hang on, when these guys just dump, all that's happening is they're giving us liquidity to buy. And there's plenty of long-term holders who want to be buying Bitcoin 50,000 towards 60,000, right? They're buying in that range. You're seeing that. And if they do want to pull back the price even lower, down into, you know, that 50,000 territory, then definitely buying the dip power will be seen in those levels. I mean, there's plenty of people, myself included, who will be loving to buy those dips in that 50k region. Now, if I zoom you up to the weekly chart, this was the Germany pullback, right? It took us, you know, as a decent pullback into our EMA ribbon. So maybe the Mount Gox one will give us another bit of a pullback, right? We can hopefully start to buy the dip. Maybe then you get another dump and we start to buy the dip. So don't be surprised, in other words, over the next kind of couple of weeks / months to see a bunch of volatility. But the good news is that once that volatility is complete, once the Mount Gox have kind of returned all their money and those who wanted to dump has dumped, we really have a clear motorway ahead. And I think that's what's particularly exciting about where we're at right now on crypto. We're at this turning point. We're at this turning point where it's like, you know what? You've thrown all the FUD you could, and we're just brushing it off. We're ignoring the FUD, we're brushing it off, we're DCAing, we're buying on pullbacks, we're adding to our bags, and we're not being panicked out. And I think fundamentally, that's what's beautiful about what's going on right now, right? You had the whole Trump assassination situation. You've got inflation now starting to improve. You've had Germany government selling. You've got, you've now got Mount Gox returning their funds. All of these things which were considered big, scary things, Bitcoin just time and time again proves how it's handling all these situations so well. And that's what's ultimately so rewarding as a long-term investor is when you look at this asset class, which, you know, was created in 2008, it's proven itself through financial crisis. It's proven itself through banking failures. It's proven itself against the Russian-Ukraine war and COVID and all these things, you know, countries banning crypto. It just continues to say, you know what? Bring it. We're an asset class which is mature, we're stable, we're here, and we're going to work through these challenges. And that's what it's managed to do. Remember when Tesla was buying and then Tesla dumped? Like everybody thought it was the end of the world. Bitcoin's still here. Remember when China banned crypto and everyone was like, oh my God, it's the end. Well, it's still here. Remember when Mount Gox collapsed? We're still here. Remember Sam Bankman-Fried, that guy? We're still here. Remember Do Kwon, Terra Luna? We're still here. So these are just more chapters in the book of crypto. And if you jump on over to the Fear and Greed Index, I found this really telling. A couple of days ago in my video, I reported that this was sat at 27, which is extreme fear. And in a couple of days, very quickly, it jumped up to 65. And that just goes to show that the average, what I like to call tourist investor, just buys off price sentiment. They don't care about fundamental analysis. They're not studying macroeconomics. They're not doing anything. They're just going, you know what? This price is so high, super bullish, so low, super scary. And that's it. That's the extent of their research. So the beautiful thing is once you do a bit of research and you're able to buy here when others are so, you know, worried and panicking and extreme fear, I mean, you're taking that buy there and you're buying it up to where we're at now. You're talking 17% and up to the peak, you're talking 20% spot on Bitcoin. Simply because you go, you know what? I'm just not going to do what the headlines make me do. When Germany government's selling, I'm going to buy. When Mount Gox is selling, I'm going to buy. When there's FUD around some government doing XYZ and banning crypto, I'm going to buy. Right? And fundamentally, that's what's always delivered the good results here for crypto. The other thing worth watching here for you guys is the dollar index. Make sure you keep an eye on this dollar index because we have managed to create a lower high. This is good. We've managed to wick a lower low just about, but I don't want this to gain support, right? I don't want the dollar index to start gaining support here and starting to work its way for another attempt. That will make crypto struggle. Ideally, we want to see this curl over and start another downtrend here to the downside on the daily chart. That's something I'll be watching out for here on the dollar index. So there you have it, guys. A really exciting time in the market. Look, FUD's going to be FUD, right? At the end of the day, whether it's Mount Gox selling, whether it's Terra Luna collapse, whether it's FTX, whether it's Germany government selling, it doesn't matter. The returns have been proven that if you DCA over time, nobody who's invested in Bitcoin has not been profitable. Those who are not profitable are those who buy at peaks, sell when the price drops 10-15%, and they panic, often because they're over leveraged, often because they invested more than they can afford to lose. Sounds simple, right? But you've got to go and deliver on that. If you appreciate these updates, don't forget to smash the likes, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.